Chinese moral imagination. The Chinese moral world is built on harmony and relationships. It sees each person as part of a living whole, family, community, nature, cosmos, rather than an isolated individual with abstract rights. Moral life is about finding balance in each of these spheres. Across thinkers, the key is self-cultivation and proper conduct that keep the whole in tune. For example, Confucianism stresses that humaneness, ren, is the root of social bonds. We must develop virtue within ourselves so that the group takes precedence over conceptions of the individual self. In short, Chinese ethics teaches fulfilling one's roles and duties to self, family, society, and heaven, rather than asserting individual entitlements. Confucian harmony and virtue. Confucianism makes harmony the ultimate goal. A good person, Junzi, cultivates virtues like Ren, benevolence, Yi, righteousness, and Li, propriety, in daily life filial piety, Cio, and respect for elders ground one's duty to family and ancestors. Through study, ritual and reflection, one polishes the self so it shines with sincerity. Self-cultivation is literally the foundation of all harmony. Confucius taught that personal integrity is the first step in developing family, society and the world, and that inner virtue leads naturally to peace in practical terms. This means speaking honestly, behaving respectfully in ceremonies, and putting others' needs, especially kin's, before your own whims. When people do this correctly, society smooths the edges of conflict and order arises. Even Confucian ideals have shadows. Taken too rigidly, Confucian duty can become empty ritual or moral grandstanding. People may recite virtues without feeling them. But at its best, Confucianism reminds us to return good for good, to center life on benevolence and courtesy, and to see personal growth as inseparable from social harmony. Taoist naturalness and humility. In contrast, Taoism preaches naturalness and flowing with the way, Tao. The Tao is the hidden pattern of the universe, a gentle, rhythmic balance in nature. Taoists say, don't force it. Acting by Wu Wei, or non-action, means doing what comes naturally and letting the world unfold. Laozi and Zhuangzi urge humility, spontaneity and simplicity. They list the 3 jewels of Tao: compassion, moderation, and humility. In practice, this means living like water, adaptable and soft, yielding but persistent. One should remove the clutter from life, ditch ego and excess desire, and live like an uncarved block, pure and unforced. A Taoist cares little for social status. One obeys nature's laws rather than man-made ones. The Taoist ideal can also slide into withdrawal. Going too far, a person might shirk responsibilities or neglect society. But wisely applied, Taoism teaches us to harmonize with our true nature and the cosmos. A Taoist would say, be honest and sincere, yet flexible. The world is big, and forcing your will against the natural flow leads only to conflict. Legalist order and control. Legalism, Fahia, is the hard edge in this tapestry. Legalists trust neither innate virtue nor cosmic goodness. They rely on law, order, and control to keep society stable. Thinkers like Shang Yang and Han Fei declared that people are essentially selfish and short-sighted. You shouldn't expect individuals to act morally on their own. Instead, a ruler must set up clear rewards and severe punishments to shape behavior. Legalist writings are unapologetic. To prevent any wrongdoing, nothing is better than making punishments heavy. Promotions, demotions, and legal codes replace moral persuasion. The ruler is above the law, and officials serve only through a system of ranks and scrutiny. This yields a strict, disciplined order, but at a cost. The legalist shadow side is harshness. It can crush kindness, teaching people to obey out of fear rather than conviction. In a legalist state, the goal is security, not individual freedom or virtue. Life under legalist rule feels like a strict game of sticks and carrots. Yet the Chinese tradition treats this as one possible tool, not the whole of morality. Even Confucius remarked that too much law and punishment stifle humanity. The legalist lesson we carry forward is practical. Clear standards and consequences can check human selfishness, but they must be balanced by virtue and compassion. Mohist impartial love and utility. Mohism offers a moral critique of both Confucian and legalist extremes. Mozi taught Jian'ai, universal or impartial care. Every life matters, so one should love others as one loves oneself, without favoring friends or family. This is not an empty promise, but a demand that rulers love all people. Mohists prioritized what they called the benefit, li, of all the world. Actions are right if they help everyone's welfare. They also championed frugality and usefulness. Wasteful luxury and needless war were forbidden. Only what brings real collective gain is virtuous. In practice, Mohist ethic is pragmatic. Solve social problems by rational discussion and persuasive argument. Find objective standards, like, does it increase overall benefit? And follow them. The Mohist ideal can seem severe. It even opposes grand rituals and aristocratic privilege in favor of plain speech and engineering. Critics say impartial love may neglect the natural closeness of family ties. Still, Mohism adds to our moral imagination the idea that impartial concern is a moral goal. Even if we love our relatives most, we should care a little about strangers too. It insists Chinese ethics can be universal in compassion and concrete in results. Buddhist compassion and detachment. Buddhism brought compassion, Baimin, and detachment into Chinese ethics. Chinese Buddhists, especially Chan, Zen, emphasize that we all suffer together. The ideal is the bodhisattva, one who seeks awakening but postpones final escape to help all beings. Bodhisattvas embrace the principle of compassion to liberate others from suffering, as the British Library notes of Avalokiteshvara, Guanyin, BL.UC. Guanyin, the most beloved figure in Chinese Buddhism, is literally observing the sounds of the world, listening for cries of distress and answering them out of pure empathy. BL.UK. This captures the Buddhist turn, not just self-purification, but universal mercy. At the same time, Buddhism teaches detachment. Chinese Buddhists talk about emptiness and the illusory self, meaning we should not cling stubbornly to ego or possessions. Fang Dongmei, Tomei Fang, later described the universe as alive and unified by artistic moral ideals. In practice, a Chinese Buddhist would say, keep a compassionate heart, but don't get hooked by anger or desire. A famous idea is that a wise person might remain in rebirth indefinitely to aid others, compassion without seeking personal reward. The Buddhist influence can seem inward or otherworldly, even leading some to withdraw from society. But in China it often blended back into Confucian values. Filial piety became a Buddhist virtue too. Ultimately, Buddhism tells us, life is interconnected. To cultivate virtue is to relieve suffering. By practicing mindfulness and kindness, we learn to respond spontaneously yet empathetically to each situation. In daily life, this means taking a moment for quiet reflection, and then helping whoever is in front of us. Neo-Confucian synthesis, inner knowing and cosmos. By the Song and Ming dynasties, Confucian thinkers had absorbed Taoist and Buddhist ideas into a cosmic moral vision. Neo-Confucians like Zhu Xi and Wang Yangming wove together inner conscience and universal order. Zhu Xi held that cosmic principle, Li, structures everything, and human nature is fundamentally good. He taught that self-cultivation involves reverence and investigating things to perceive the patterns of heaven and earth. In Zhu's view, Ren, humanity, is the essential pattern of love in the mind, manifesting as sincere concern for others. In effect, he saw human love as part of the cosmos's own creative pulse, mirroring seasonal cycles of growth. Wang Yangming simplified this. The mind is principle, Sinji Li. He insisted that true knowledge and action are unified in the heart-mind, so each person can intuit right and wrong. Moral knowledge is not in books alone but in our innate conscience. So to Wang, when you feel compassion or shame, you are touching cosmic truth directly. Neo-Confucians thus taught that aligning our inner self with the moral fabric of the universe is the way to live rightly. We find the great Tao by polishing our heart-mind and recognizing its oneness with the order of things. Modern reinterpretations. Contemporary Chinese thinkers have built on these themes. Li Zheho, an influential modern scholar who sees Chinese ethics as aesthetic. Li says Chinese culture prizes a harmonious beauty, Zhonghei Ji Mei, a balance of form and content, reason, Li, and feeling, Qin. He notes music and poetry were moral arts. Music unites people and refines character, while poetry expresses a cultivated self. For Li, acting morally is like creating art. One tries to blend sincerity and elegance, emotion and principle, in a single harmonious performance. In other words, ethics and aesthetics meet. A truly ethical life is a beautiful one in balance with nature. Tian Renhei Yi. Yuk Hui, a Hong Kong philosopher who coined cosmotechnics. Yuk Hui argues technology and morality must connect with local cosmology. He reminds us that the Chinese worldview has its own cosmic order, different from the Greco-Western one. A Chinese cosmotechnic would unite technical practice with Chinese moral and cosmic ideas. For example, traditional Chinese medicine works with qi, yin-yang and the five phases, an epistemology rooted in Chinese cosmology, not Western anatomy. Yuk Hui's point is that ethics and technology both flow from a culture's sense of harmony. As our takeaway, we should develop solutions, in tech, policy, life, that respect the Chinese idea of balance and plurality, rather than blindly copying a single universal formula. Cui Zhiyuan, an economist of the New Left, who applies Confucian ideas of community to justice and economics. He argues China needs collective justice, combining capitalism with strong communal forms. Cui proposes worker-owner partnerships, for instance, companies where ordinary workers own shares alongside investors. In some Chinese towns, like Hegang, this has meant using public land for cooperative industry, boosting growth without private exploitation. The moral insight is that society can engineer fairness. By structuring work and profit sharing around the community, the system serves the public good, not just personal gain. Tomei Fang Dongmei, a Neo-Confucian philosopher who stressed comprehensive harmony. Fang saw Chinese metaphysics as fundamentally artistic and alive. He described life, beauty and the universe as a trinity. The cosmos itself is animated by moral and aesthetic ideals. People, Fang said, perceive the world with the goodness of beauty, art and empathy reveal reality. For him, ontology, what is, axiology, what is valuable, and cosmology are fused. Chinese consciousness of the universe is inherently holistic and poetic. Understanding comes through a moral and aesthetic grasp of oneness. This underlines the Chinese vision that being, value and harmony belong together. Relationships and responsibilities. Across these views, a Chinese moral map centers on circles of relationship. One's duties radiate outward, first self, Ziwo, then family, Jia, then society or community, Shikun, and finally the cosmos, Tian. To oneself one owes self-cultivation and sincerity, a clear conscience and kind heart. To family and elders, one owes filial piety, care and respect in return for their love and sacrifice. To society one owes righteousness and fulfilling one's social role, good citizen, honest merchant, dutiful friend, keeping social rituals and harmony intact. To the cosmos, heaven and earth, one owes alignment with natural order, humility before nature's cycles, Tian, and living in a way that does not break the balance of qi and spirit. These are obligations, not rights. Chinese morality teaches that by nurturing each relationship properly, the whole network stays in tune. If you cultivate virtue in yourself, support your family, act fairly in community, and preserve harmony with nature, you contribute to the great balance of things. Notice how different this is from a Western rights-based approach. There is no, I have a right, ethos, only, I have a role. Each person acts as part of a family and state, ultimately serving a cosmic order. Ideals and shadows. Confucian ideal, Ren, benevolence, versus rigidity. Confucians aim for selflessness and harmony, but risk becoming dogmatic or hypocritical if they cling to ritual without sincerity. Taoist ideal, Zhiran, spontaneity, versus escapism. Taoists prize authenticity and humility, but can retreat too far and neglect duties. Mohist ideal, Jian'ai, impartial love, versus oversimplicity. Mohists preach universal care, which can feel cold or impractical in family life, ignoring natural partiality. Legalist ideal, Fa, order, versus harshness. Legalists ensure order, but can breed resentment and stifle freedom. Buddhist ideal, Qi-Bei, compassion plus detachment, versus detachment. Buddhism enriches empathy, yet its emphasis on emptiness can seem at odds with practical duties. Chinese thinkers were aware of these tensions. The wisdom was to use each teaching in balance. For example, Confucians might temper their orthodoxy with Taoist flexibility, or confine legalist severity within a broadly humane world. the overall ethical drive remains relational and balanced, not absolutist. A unifying thread: harmony over rights. What ties the Chinese tradition together is the idea of harmony. Every school, at its best, teaches fitting oneself into the greater pattern of life, whether by virtue, by nature's way, or by cosmic duty. The distilled principle is, do what keeps the world in balance. Practically, this means acting with kindness and integrity in context, always asking, how will this affect the whole? Rather than, what do I claim for myself? In one sentence, the supreme Chinese ethic is harmony through right action. It differs from Western ethics by focusing on duties and relationships instead of individual rights or universal rules. As Confucianism bluntly puts it, the group takes precedence over the individual self. In daily life, this means valuing community and moral roles above personal desire. The Western ideal of personal autonomy gives way in the Chinese view to relational balance. To carry this forward, remember, live as part of a larger family and cosmos. Cultivate your heart, honor your roles, and seek to harmonize, for virtue in China is tuning the self so it resonates with the whole world, not standing apart demanding rights. This holistic, balance-centered principle is the binding thread of the Chinese moral imagination.